If you're starving, just show to the government, I guess.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. What exactly happened in yesterday's midterm elections? Well, we wish you could tell you with some precision. That's our job. But we can't because in a number of key races around the country, we still don't have a vote total. In Arizona, for example, there is no declared winner in the Senate race or in the governor's race. At this point, it seems likely that both Kari Lake and Blake Masters will win. We'll be speaking to Kari Lake in just a minute about that. But according to news reports, the official results may not be in for more than a month. A month. Officials in Arizona told CNBC today that they are, quote, prepared to work through Thanksgiving and possibly Christmas as well. That means results by New Year's in a race that was held in early November. That seems late. How late is it? Well, by comparison, the results of the 1862 midterm elections, which were tabulated by candlelight without machines or even electricity in the middle of a raging civil war, were clear before the end of the week. That was the entire country. Arizona is a single state, which, by the way, is a fraction of the size of Florida, which, as you may have noticed, counted its votes in less than a day. So did Brazil, an entire country. That seems embarrassing, if not like a full-blown emergency. Counting the votes isn't some added extra you get for government. If they have a surplus, like fighting climate change or bringing equity, counting the votes is a core function of government, along with law enforcement, maintaining the roads, keeping the border secure. Efficient elections are the reason you pay taxes. But Arizona doesn't seem to have them. Why is that? Don't ask, commands CNN. If you've got questions about this or any other election, no unauthorized questions. Instead, watch CNN. Or if you don't have cable, simply trust your local officials.
You see, that's our first votes, and that's the wonder of democracy, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And I wanted to point that out to be a little bit of the crank in the room following Brianna there. Stay off social media, people, if you're trying to figure out, are there really issues with votings? Trust your local officials, trust us here, trust a news source that you know and trust, to be honest about this. They're doing their jobs and they're doing it right.
They're doing their jobs, they're doing it right. Really, CNN? Can we get a little more reporting on that? How right are they doing it? It's pretty funny. But we digress. The state of our election systems in many places is indeed pretty embarrassing, but so honestly were the results of last night's elections. Republicans swore they were going to sweep a red tsunami. That's what they told us, and we, to be honest, cautiously believed them. But they did not sweep, not even close to sweeping. The Republican Party, in the end, may take control of the House and the Senate, but only by a tiny margin at best. That's great, but it was not the plan. The plan was really simple. It seemed easy a week ago. An unpopular president, a faltering economy, an open border, the looming risk of nuclear war. How about that? Put all those together, how could there not be a massive Republican win nationally? Wins everywhere. Well, there weren't. Some exceptions, but overall, there weren't. Joe Biden was not punished. In fact, he was out there bragging about himself today. Pretty frustrating. You wanted Republicans to win, not simply because they're so great, but because Democrats are so very bad. And that's not an overstatement. So what happened? Well, before we give you our theories as to what happened, one obvious point, the people whose job it was to win but did not win should go do something else now. We're speaking specifically of the Republican leadership of the House and the Senate and of the RNC. It's nothing personal. Some of them are no doubt nice people, but they took hundreds of millions of dollars to paint the map red, and they didn't. It doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean they should be jailed. It does mean they shouldn't be promoted. No one should ever be rewarded for failure. If there's a truly conservative principle in life, it's the principle of the meritocracy. You reward excellence. You do not reward mediocrity, and when you do, things fall apart. Democrats kept promoting Tony Fauci, despite his obvious ineptitude. What is that? That's corruption.
Conservatives are meritocrats.
Republicans should never do anything like that. And if they do, what's the point of voting for them? They're no different. So the question is, why did Republicans underperform last night? You're hearing a lot of people saying it was about abortion. Suburban ladies were mad about Roe. That's certainly plausible in some places, probably true. On the other hand, a number of resolutely pro-life Republicans thrived statewide. That would include Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, Brian Kemp in Georgia, Ted Budd in North Carolina, pro-life for all. So abortion may have been a factor, but it's not the whole answer. Many others are saying that Donald Trump is the reason Republicans didn't do as well as they thought they would. That's a more complicated question. The truth is we can't really see the entire picture this early. Excuse us. I mean, the truth is Trump has always been a mixed blessing politically. The downsides are marbled in with the upsides, but in this case, he's certainly not the single cause of anything. Republicans last night suffered a fair amount of down-ballot losses in races that had nothing to do with Trump.
On Facebook and
Michigan,
Instagram all
for
the time, eh?
example. So whether you like Trump or not, and many don't, and a lot do, it's a lot more complicated than just him. And then there's the most amusingly stupid explanation of all. Excuse us.
Something is wrong.
By 7%. If you think that sounds normal, go look at the past 5 elections. Republicans do not win statewide among people with postgraduate degrees, but DeSantis did. He won all but 5 counties in Florida. So to the astonishment of MSNBC and the entire Democratic political establishment, DeSantis even managed to flip Miami-Dade County. Now, Miami-Dade is by definition a Democratic county. By the way, he was not the only Republican who won there. Another did as well. Miami-Dade went for Hillary Clinton by 30 points in 2016. Listen to the audible gasps at MSNBC as they realized that Hispanic voters had betrayed their explicit instructions.
I'm told we just got Miami-Dade. This is a big one in Florida. Let's take a look at, okay. We got the, yeah. So let's put this in some perspective. Miami-Dade County has 2.75 million people. In 2016, this was a Democratic county by 30 points. Hillary Clinton won this county by 30 points. Miami-Dade is 70% Hispanic. And look at this. In the mail-in and early vote, which again tends to be more Democratic friendly, Marco Rubio, the Republican, is outright leading in Miami-Dade County by 7 points.
Exactly. And good for them for being honest about what happened. Really no lying about it. And again, it wasn't just Ron DeSantis, it was also Marco Rubio. No Republican has won in Miami-Dade County in 20 years. But Ron DeSantis did it, Marco Rubio did it. In the end, DeSantis won by nearly 20 points. Things were so bad for Democrats in Florida that CBS went looking for Charlie Crist supporters and couldn't find any in public. Watch.
By the way, I got to point out that once we started digesting our food and digesting the day, we realized that on that day-long trip, we spoke to dozens of people up and down the coast of Florida, all in precincts, by the way, that voted for President Biden in 2020. But to our surprise, we did not run into a supporter of Ron DeSantis' Democratic opponent. That would be Charlie Crist.